The story that we are reporting on in this segment of the X-Zone radio and TV show has already been reported by other members of the media. I, Rob McConnell, and the X-Zone radio and TV show takes no position whatsoever as to the truth or veracity of these reports and or allegations.
The X-Zone radio and TV show is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X-Zone radio and TV show or in any manner endorsed by Rob McConnell, Relmar McConnell Media Company, Talkstar Radio Network, its affiliated stations, or employees.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Welcome back to the X-Zone, everyone. My name is Rob McConnell, live and around the world on the Talkstar Radio Network, X-Zone TV, and on shortwave from my studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Toll free 1-877-528-8255. That is toll free throughout the U.S., Canada, Alaska, and Hawaii at 1-877-528-TALK. My email address is xzone@talkstarradio.com, on MSN Messenger talkstarradio at hotmail.com, and our websites www.xzoneradio.com, www.xzonetv.com, where you can watch and listen to our show from our studios live Monday through Friday from 10 p.m. Eastern until 2 a.m. Eastern, and our store website at www.xzonestore.com. My guest this hour is Alexandra HOLZER, and she is a member of she is a member of several organizations such as the SCBWI, FirstWriters.com, IMDbPro.com, AbsoluteWriters.com. Her father is the original ghost hunter, published author Professor Hans HOLZER, who has a PhD, and he has written 146 titles in genres of parapsychology. And it's always great having Alexandra with us, and she's following her dad's footsteps. And Alexandra, welcome back to the X-Zone. How are you?
Thank you, Rob. I'm great. Thank you for having me back on. Always a pleasure.
It's great having you with us. Now, you are such a busy young lady. How do you keep everything in line?
Oh, I don't know. I cracked the whip a few times, you know. It's a lot, raising 4 children and writing and trying to get projects off the ground and dealing with people out, in Hollywood land. And it's just very bizarre, but it can be done. And I really am following in my father's footsteps in a lot of respects, so it's really eerie. So
You are a master of multitasking.
I think I am. I've always been pretty good at telling people what to do and how to do it, so I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm a woman. I have no clue. But
oh, yeah. I think you're selling yourself very short there. I think that you're a very talented young lady.
Thank you.
And 4 children, my goodness, God bless you.
Thank you, yeah.
Tell me, do you get a lot of calls from people who are saying, you're not going to believe this, but I think my house is haunted?
I get, well, of course, nowadays everything's email. If they call me, I can't talk. Goodbye. My father used to do that. He used to hang up on people. I have no time. Call me back in an hour. You think the ghost is going to wait or something? So, I get the emails. I do. I get people that tell me their stories, and I take casework via email, and sometimes I'll get the phone calls, and I'll, call them, or they'll call here, and you get a lot of it. And I think because right now I call it like the paranormal boom, you have to really be careful, especially today because of cable network and TV shows and things. You really want to make sure these people are being genuine and not looking for attention. So it's harder today, I think. So.
All right, let's talk more about this on the other side of this commercial break, Alexandra.
Okay.
Alexandra Holzer is our very special guest, and her website is hauntingholzer.com, HAUNTINGHOLZER.com. And Alexandra and I will be back on the other side of this commercial break as the X Zone continues. We're right here, live and around the world from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Once again, our toll-free number is 1-877-528-8255. Toll-free throughout the U.S., Canada, Alaska, and Hawaii at 1-877-528-8255. My producer tonight at Master Control is the one and only Gotham City Kid himself, Batman. Alexandra Holzer and I will return on the other side of this commercial break in 2 minutes as we continue right here on Talkstar.
All around old Cape Horn, ships of the line, ships of the morn. Some who wish they'd never been born, they are the ghosts of Cape Horn. All around a riddle-de-rum with a rim-dim-diddy and a rum-dum-dum. Sailing away at the break of dawn, they are the ghosts of Cape Horn. See them all in sad repair, demons dance everywhere, southern gales, tattered sails, and none to tell a tale.
Alexandra Holzer is our very special guest, www.hauntingholzer.com. Alexandra, before we went to the commercial break, you made a reference to the television shows that are out there, as and I have to ask you, as a professional, do you find that a lot of these shows are a benefit or a
hindrance?
Thank you. To the professional investigators when it comes to hauntings and ghost research.
It's like a catch-22. Yeah, even in the paranormal we have that. It's both. And an example is in my father's day, and I recently found this out from my mother. My father was trying to get his own show, and this is back, I believe, in the 70s, and they didn't have cable, so it was really very, very much, maybe 6 to 8 channels of what you could appear on, and they didn't have shows like this. So now what you have is the reverse, where there's so much opportunity, and the market gets flooded with it, because when one goes, the other one goes. And I think it's really great in the sense that it pulls your awareness into it, because I think today's society we've changed, and we need to see things visually more so than in the past, where we could actually read information, where now we need to see it in our face quick. And so we've evolved as a society, and so if we have it on TV, we might have a better chance of understanding it quicker and getting the information quicker versus, sitting down and reading a book. So it's great in one respect, but in the other respect, when you have a lot of it and a lot of them are not credible, or, they're not providing, the type of information that would help people, and also be, I understand it has to be entertaining, but there are some that are and there are some that aren't. So I think, it can hurt and it can help. So it's kind of tough. But
I think that the entertaining aspect takes away from the credibility of so many real investigators and researchers that are out there. Everyone expects a ghost haunting or a ghost research session to be finished within 22 minutes and then put your own commercials in.
Well, but that's the thing. You have to you can do it entertaining. I mean, Listen, I could do a great dance show for you, but if you get something out of it and you've learned something and you have respect for me and my performance, then I've done my job, and you can walk away wanting to come back for more. Exactly. And I think it's kind of like a game. You really have to present it carefully. And also, we have our youth nowadays that are more interested in ghosts and UFOs, and it's just a huge phenomenon, and you really have to kind of cater to everybody, all ages, and think about that and be responsible for what you put out. So it's great while you're on TV doing it, but you also have to be responsible and also educate the people saying, listen, you have to revisit places. If we're not going to get something on film, let's have an intelligent discussion and do something else that's just as entertaining, on the topics itself and keep it going. So
maybe you can help me understand this, Alexandra. There are certain places where ghost hunters and people who have an interest in the paranormal keep going time after time after time after time after time after time. Is this normal where the haunted activity would be there so prevalent that no matter who goes, when they go, they are always given a haunted show, so to speak?
Right. Well, you've got these places that have been known to have paranormal activity for centuries, and you've got these poor ghosts sitting there. Oh, another camera crew already. Leave. We're not going. Go find another place to shoot. I mean, it's really, there are places that are haunted because people couldn't move on and there was tragedy. But after time, it does dissolve, and we have what we call impressions. And so there's a big difference. And deciphering the two depends on what you catch on film, because we do have technology today versus in my father's day. It wasn't as advanced, but you can still, with a great medium, you really can pull through information and photography. A lot of times these places are more about the environment and giving you that creepy feeling that you catch on film, which is enough, to give that fulfillment and then walk away. It doesn't mean necessarily there's something bad going there or that there's still, residual effects. There could be. History has impressions everywhere we are around the globe. I mean, Europe is, the most haunted because it's been around the longest, the most inhabited. So it really takes a lot of research in that one area, and I think when we go back, it has to be a lot just for that one investigative group to really make sure we have all that information.
Now, how long have you been involved in investigating the paranormal?
Not long at all. I mean, I grew up with it. It's almost
I know that, but I mean away from your dad.
Yeah. Well, personally, not that long.
No.
It's only been a couple of years that I've discovered that, I've had my own awakening.
Mm-hmm.
And, unfortunately, everything reverts back to how I grew up only because it was part of my life. I just didn't realize it. And I think a lot of people have that where they've had experiences, but they don't want to talk about it. And when you investigate, what does that mean? Does it mean how many tools you have on your belt, nowadays versus in his day where you went with a medium? For me, it's about, getting to know the situation and the case and the location and what is going on. And it's a lot of work, a lot of time, and making sure it's validated because, like I was saying before, there are a lot of people that are looking to get on film. There are a lot of people that are genuinely afraid. There's a lot of bad things that happen. So it's a process. It's going to be like this until I pass. It's a process.
Now, have you ever been in a situation, Alexandra, where a negative entity or a negative spirit has actually taken a stab at you, so to speak?
Yeah, no. I don't. And you know what? And I don't know if I'll ever have that happen. I hope not. I'll be running as fast as I can. But no, I don't. It's almost like I feel like I'm very protected. I feel like it's understood that when I go about this, it's for the right reasons, and that I'm not hurting anybody. I'm not trying to bait anything to come out for whatever purpose. It's more about having a respect factor, because I think people have to understand you do have to respect the other side. If you cross and you cross well, for instance, you want people to still respect you. I believe that you still feel. I do believe you still exist. It's just in a different plane. You're not physical. Doesn't mean you're still not there. So I believe that I'm protected and I'm guided, and I believe in that. And I'm also not stupid, and I don't think I would pull anything out or bait it. I think there's a point where you just kind of let it be. When you're helping people is one thing, and you have to really help people. There are bad things that happen, but I think I'm pretty well protected, so hopefully.
Has there ever been a time, Alexandra, where the hair on the back of your neck has stood up and you say, oh, my God?
Yeah, I've walked into places. Ringwood Manor was one of them in New Jersey, where I've walked in, and this was before my awakening. You know, this is when I was in my 20s, and we had all gone there for a visit, and I didn't even know my father wrote a book on this place. I mean, I was just not involved with any of this. I mean, that's how out of it I was. And we walked through this place, and this place was very old. They didn't have any air conditioning. You know, these houses were small spaces, very hot, and it was in the summertime. And we walked by these roped rooms, and in this one room, all this coldness, all this air came out, and there was no vents, there was nothing. And I sat there, and I saw a figure of a woman, and I turned away, and I felt just yikes, you know. It was just very. That's when everything stood up on me, and I said we need to keep moving. But I knew there was somebody there watching me. You know.
To your knowledge, has anyone ever been physically harmed by a spirit?
I've read cases. I've heard cases. My father thinks it's silly. I personally, I don't. I think there are a lot of people that claim in the poltergeist activity. There can be objects that are picked up and thrown about. I think people have been. I've heard enough. I've seen a lot of videos and a lot of footage, and I do think there's a lot of things that happen. And you can physically be pushed down a flight of stairs. You can be physically touched by an entity that's violent and perhaps violent in their life. So yeah.
Are children more susceptible to encounters with the paranormal, or are adults?
I think children, because they're pure and unaware and are easier, portals, I guess, portals open up and they can get to them because there's no fear there, you know, they're open. And the whole point of when you're connecting is you have to be open. And as adults, it's harder when we grow up because we go through life and we become harder individuals. So, yeah, children are very susceptible, extremely. When
you have been out doing any paranormal research, is there ever a crossover between ghosts, spirits, to angels?
I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, my own personal experiences, I think sometimes spirit guides that can be family or friends that have crossed over to come and watch you and other people can also be your angel. And then there are those that are not of the earth, meaning they've never been born here, that are strictly angels, that are come in any form to you to appear because you're in need of help. When it comes to, spirits, if they're helping and guiding you, they are, in essence, your angel, because they're here to, help, not hurt. So to me, it's one and the same. If they're helping you, it really doesn't matter. They're your angel.
Throughout the course of your research into the paranormal, how many investigations have you done, or how much research have you done, let's say, at one location?
There's been a few in my area where I've gone back a few times, where I live in upstate New York, and I've done them actually privately. I don't go around saying, I've done this house in that place or this, because I'm not looking for that. And the thing is, everybody's doing that in filming. And what I've found is what I've had to do is things have happened, and I've had to go back and kind of reassess the situation. And, every day is different. If you go back on one moment, you might get something on film that wasn't there before because whoever was occupying the space wasn't ready to come out. It's not like on demand where you go in knowing there's a case, there's activity as per the people, and then, something happens where, the cup on the table moves. It takes a lot, and so you do have to go back at least twice and interview and tape record and all that. So I've been doing that locally in my area.
Alexandra, please stand by. You and I have to take a commercial break. We'll be back after the news. Alexandra HOLZER is our very special guest this hour. www.hauntingholzer.com. HAUNTINGHOLZER.com. Alexandra and I will be back on the other side of the news as the X Zone continues right here on the Talkstar Radio Network.
Here's a DVD offer that should be of special interest to X Zone fans. 50 of the most inexcusably implausible sci-fi movies ever made. Yours for about 55 cents each. Not to rent, but to own. Marvel at the transformation of the Wasp Woman. Fear for the future of the planet when only a flying turtle, Gamera the Invisible, stands between us and oblivion. Flee in terror from the snow creature. Feel your skin crawl from the horrors of Spider Island. And if that isn't enough, there's always the robot monster in a monkey suit with a fishbowl on his head. More movies than we can name here for just $27.99 plus shipping and handling. Go to TalkStarRadio.com and check out the Video Bookstore and Bazaar. 50 sci-fi movies so funky they're fabulous. See the whole list for $27.99. That's at TalkStarRadio.com. Online, TalkStarRadio.com. If you currently have a short-term fixed-rate home mortgage, you do need to listen to this. The mortgage industry is rapidly changing, and no one knows that better than your friends in the money business, Prime Pacific Capital. Every day, new guidelines are making it more and more difficult for homeowners to refinance the current mortgage. Don't get caught with the high interest rate and increased payments once that loan automatically adjusts. Interest rates are still low. Call Prime Pacific Capital today and refinance into a long-term, low-rate fixed mortgage. No matter what your credit situation or what state you live in, Prime Pacific Capital will work to secure a new loan for you. Don't count yourself out until you give us a call. A loan specialist is standing by to assist you with your free consultation. Make that call today. 1-866-464-1800. 1-866-464-1800. Call Prime Pacific Capital at 1-866-464-1800.
My name is Michael Telstar, Canada's leading mentalist from Toronto, Ontario.
Hi, my name is Gwilda, and you're listening to my dad, Rob McConnell, on the X-Zone.
This is Psychic Dorothy from St. Catharines, and you're listening to Rob McConnell.
Hello, my name is Holly Reeves, an astrologer from Astro For You, and you're listening to Canada's #1 paranormal radio show, The X-Zone, with Rob McConnell.
Welcome to The X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
An old cowboy went riding out one dark and windy day. Up on a ridge he rested as he went along his way. When all at once a mighty herd of red-eyed cows he saw plowing through the ragged skies and up a cloudy draw. Their brands were still on fire and their hooves were made of steel. Their horns were black and shiny and their hot breath he could feel. A bolt of fear went through him.
Elizabeth Holzer, Alexandra Holzer is our very special guest. And her website is www.hauntingholzer.com. Got it straight. www.hauntingholzer.com. And Alexandra, when you go in to do an investigation or into a home to see what's going on, how do you proceed?
Well, you know, I do a lot of everything, so I'm not just somebody that goes and investigates. That's just the first thing I want people to understand. I don't want to do this. I don't have a group because everybody has a group, and I'm not looking to do what everybody else is doing.
You're not into groupies.
It's because it's being done, and I'm looking to pioneer a female in the industry to do it with respect and go back to the olden days with some of the stuff we have today and mix it up. Mm-hmm. But when I do it, I do it privately just for that reason alone. You go with a really good validated medium, which I have found. And not on purpose, by the way. That's the kicker of it. So it's obviously meant to be, and we've been working together, and we have, tape recorder. I have a digital, so I've updated, and we have our camera. And we go in with information, and we ask, all the questions, and we feel the environment, and we go throughout the house, if it's a house, if you're on a piece of property. same thing. And you just, you ask the questions, what exactly is going on. And usually when people contact you anyway, you're getting a lump full of information, and you can get a lot out of people before you go to the location to kind of determine whether or not, what you're up against would be a better choice of words. So,
what type of questions would you ask?
Well, one of the first things I would ask is what's the history of the place? If you're dealing with a house, are you the original homeowners? Do you know when the house was built? Is there any paperwork on the house? You want to get information on the location. And then the second question is, once you get all that, is basically, do you know of anything that's happened in the house? Is there any tragedies? Was there anything in the papers? You have to, a lot of times people have to go to the local libraries, they have to dig things up. But when you have a really great medium, they pull out those names. They pull out dates. Henry from 1802 is here, says that he was out on the farm and he died here. And he can't leave because he's looking for his wife. I mean, these are the type of things that, it's like you're piecing together a puzzle. And you're doing detective work like a murder mystery. It's no different.
After you do your preliminary investigation, what's your next step? For example, if a house is being haunted and you and your medium concur that there is paranormal activity happening within the four walls of this house, how do you proceed? How do you kind of get the entity or get the spirit to
cross? Well,
bug out?
Yeah, I mean, and it depends if they're hostile, and that's really what you're always afraid. You don't know what you're walking into, ever, and usually when you approach the front of the area, you feel it right away. Mm-hmm. And so you try to help them. The medium does their job, they try to talk to them and see what it is that they need, kind of like a nurse to a patient in the hospital. What can I get for you? What's ailing you? It's the same kind of psychology. You have to treat them as if they were still here on Earth, with respect. And then if you're dealing with a hostile situation, I mean, it can be dangerous. I mean, you don't know what you're coming up against. So you try to help them cross, and it's not always like that. There are places on our globe that have very dark spots and impressions and things that will not leave, that manifest, and other things come in, and it's just an open portal of bad stuff. And sometimes you can't. It's like you can't solve all the problems of the world, but you can try to get most of them. So no different. Walk away,
When you're in a home that is haunted or there is paranormal activity, do you feel the cold spots? Do you see any proof of telekinetic happenings going on? Do you talk
you
to the
definitely feel temperature changes.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it's you don't even need EMF, readers and things like that, and thermal scanning. I mean, it's great to have all that, obviously, because it just validates that there is indeed a temperature drop, in a certain spot in a room, which indicates, because when a ghost is there, they're cold, and there's what we call spirit cold, is really a real term. So there's a difference, and it's energy. And people used to think, because a ghost is cold because they're dead and it's creepy. It's really because they're not flesh, so they don't have a temperature regulator. So it's energy, and it's a lot of it, and it's a cold spot. That's really what it is. So you feel it right away, and even if you're a skeptic, you definitely can walk into a place and feel its history. And it can leave an impression. Whether you choose to accept it is really an individual choice, but you feel the difference between one area to the next in one locality. So
now, what about the people after you and your associates are able to determine whether or not the house is indeed haunted? What do you do next?
Well, you try to connect with whoever's doing the haunting. Listen, Joe and Bob, it's time for you to cross. You understand that you are here and you should not be here, that, we all love you, but, you need to cross over and find your loved ones, and you try to help them. And it takes a lot of energy to do that. And, if you go back into the day of having seances and things like that, you have your energy versus their energy to help them, push them towards what a lot of people believe is the light, where you go to find that peace. Because it's not peaceful to be here. I mean, would you want to be here stuck between the world you left and the world that you're supposed to go to? And it's really not a happy situation, so you really want to help that. And the people involved. If there's a horrible haunting,
Mm-hmm.
that to me is the scariest thing in that respect, because what do you do? What if you can't get them to cross? You know, it doesn't always happen that way. And sometimes there are people that move. They move from their house because it's so bad. You know, and I believe people are haunted, too. That's another topic for another time.
People can be haunted?
Oh, yeah, I believe it. There are things that can follow them that they're just a target, and it happens. I mean, there was that movie, The Entity, which is based on a true story.
Mm-hmm.
And Barbara Hershey, I think, played the lead role as the girlfriend. She had dated this man who was very rough with her. He was killed in a motorcycle accident. She was pregnant with his son. He didn't know. After the son was grown, she was moving around in California, and all of a sudden things started happening to her. Violent things were happening to her and her son in her house, and she was being attacked, which later on, parapsychologists found out was the ex-boyfriend.
Wow.
Yeah, and that was based on a true story. That was a very intense movie. So.
Does holy water work? We've seen this on television.
I don't know, but I'll get a whole gallon of it if it does. I mean, I don't know. I think words are very powerful, and if you've ever noticed, they take the water and then they say these incantations off the Bible. Is it the words coming from a priest versus the water itself being blessed by somebody that is a man of the cloth, or, I wonder. I don't know. It's a good question, because I wonder if it's just all mental. It's what you say, the verbiage to the entity that does it.
1-877-528-8255 is toll-free throughout the U.S., Canada, Alaska, and Hawaii. My special guest is the one and only Alexandra Holzer. Her website is www.hauntingholzer.com. How about a poltergeist when articles are zinging across the room? There is definite haunting, and not haunting, but there is definite paranormal activity that can be seen by those within the house or wherever the poltergeist activity is. Have you ever come across any of those?
Not yet. No, not yet, and I hope not. Thank you very much. I want to live a long life.
Oh, come on.
No, I haven't. I know it exists. I know it's happened.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a really violent situation, and it's an angered situation, and the first thing that I would want to do if I ever walked into that was to really help the people being affected, of the living by that, and then of the dead, so to speak, to stop it and grow up and cross over, because they're acting like children.
Mm-hmm.
And it's dangerous, and it's not funny. Because sometimes children do things that are very dangerous as well. It's the same thing. Except you can't see this coming because you can't see them. So that's scary. But
you just mentioned children, and have you been in any homes where there have been children where there is definitely paranormal activity going on? And if so, how do the children react?
Yeah, well, there's a family probably a couple of towns away, that very nice people that actually, the husband works with my husband works with the father of the family.
Mm-hmm.
And, they have 2 kids, but they're not small. I mean, they're in the teens, but they all still live at home. And it's a family thing. When children are really, really small, parents do protect the children from anything that's going on, and they try to explain to them, why things are happening.
Mm-hmm.
Children get scared by, nature. If a thunderstorm or, loud noises at night, they wake up there in fear. That's natural. But, it's between the parent and trying to protect the child, and then you have an investigator come into the home. It's almost like the doctor visiting the child if they're sick. You have to be very careful with that and kind of make it a game for them.
Yeah.
And like I said, in a lot of situations, people do end up moving from their house because there's horrible things that are going on and nothing's helping. They're just really bad places.
What is your take on the Amityville horror?
Oh, Amityville, let me tell you, the funny thing is I'm actually going to be getting a lot of the original photos from the house when my father was there investigating.
Wow.
Yeah, because all the conferences that I'm doing, I spoke to my manager and I said, my father's approved this because, I have respect for my father. My father, people think, oh, he's your father, you can take things. It's not true.
No.
I have to ask permission. And now that I'm doing conferences, I would like to do an Amityville segment and show the audience and the fans what it was like back in 1974, 3-4 days after the murders when he was in that house, with medium Ethel Johnson Myers and what they found in that house. So that's going to be up and coming. But my take on it, very sad. My father felt that, he was possessed to create this, and that's something, the Indian chief spirit took him over to create the murders and get them off the land, and maybe. They were very ritualistic back then, just like Egyptians, curses. I tend to believe the latter. There's still evidence there. There's a lot of things that happened during that case. The police department apparently made mistakes. Back then, I wouldn't doubt it. People make mistakes regardless. I'm up in the air with that. There was a brutal murder that took place, and that's where I lean towards. I lean towards the humane side of it. I think after that happened, that's when the house developed all that paranormal activity, because it was a horrible murder. So you have your ghost, the recipe for a ghost. But
now, what does your husband think about you going out there doing ghost hunting and investigating the paranormal?
Right. Well, it's not too much of that as it is. I do a lot of stuff from home, and the conferences that are coming up, and the book, and actually writing for TV and things like that, and dealing with people in the industry. He just says, whatever you need, okay. He's grown as a person. He wasn't always a believer. His mother's very spiritual, which is really funny, so she and I gang up on him, so he loses. But he's grown from this experience, because a lot of his family has come back and given messages that I couldn't possibly know, because we've never talked about family members going way back. And so it gets validated through people in his family that I wouldn't have known. And so he really has come a long way and believes and embraces it, because he knows that now when we talk about TV and the media, we need to kind of bring it back a bit and revisit history and give it respect, because it's about life at the end of the day. So,
have you ever done any research in a graveyard?
No. And the thing about graveyards that really bother me, and I've been there, I've taken photo shoots there, and it's really sad, because I think it's almost like, when some people have been, that have passed horribly, and then they're put down into the ground. I'm wondering if some of those ghosts that we catch on film are the poor disembodied members that were placed there, and they don't know where else to go because of how they died. It's graveyards. You've got a lot of souls that were there. It's a resting ground for all intents and purposes. And it's like, to me, a breeding ground for things to occur, and negative energy, not always positive. And there's been tape recordings of people moaning and sobbing, and they're, it's horrible.
Alexandra, please stand by. You and I have to take our final break for this hour. We will be back on the other side of this commercial set. When we come back, we'll take a look at who's going to be on with us tomorrow night, and take a retro look back, there you go, on tonight's show. My name is Rob McConnell, and this is the X-Zone on the Talkstar Radio Network, 1-877-528-8255, or you can always send an email to xzone@talkstarradio.com. Alexandra Holzer and I will be back on the other side of this this commercial break as the X-Zone continues right here on the Talkstar Radio Network. Don't go away.
If you're sick of hearing how bad things are in the mortgage industry, or if you have an adjustable rate mortgage that's resetting and bleeding you dry, or worse, you've been scared off by all the doom and gloom, now is the time to take action to get the mortgage you deserve. Even if you've been turned down before, or your credit isn't perfect, there's only one way to get the very best deal on a mortgage, and that's to have hundreds or even thousands of mortgage companies compete for your loan. Today, you get to choose from the very best of hundreds or even thousands of lenders bidding for your loan. We'll do all the work for you, filtering out the offers you wouldn't want to see. All you have to do is select the best bid. Just go to bidonmyloan24.com. That's bidonmyloan24.com. You get better rates when lenders bid. Go to bidonmyloan24.com and take control of your mortgage loan. Get the very best deal on your mortgage. Go to bidonmyloan24.com.
Whether it's the arrival of Planet X in 2012, the Earth's crazy weather cycles, our deadly global warming, Armageddon, UFOs, ETs, terrorism, the critical mass 2008 presidential elections, Dr. Jason Rand talks the talk and walks the walk. Being a twice-nominated Grammy record producer, recording artist, publisher, lecturer, UFO ET researcher and investigator, and best-selling author of The Return of Planet X, Mankind's Ongoing Legacy with a Brown Dwarf Star, Dr. Jason Rand truly does walk the walk and talk the talk. For more information on Dr. Jason Rand or to order The Return of Planet X, visit his website at www.returnofplanet-x.com or call 901-336-9660. And where will you be in the year 2012?
Welcome back, everyone. I'd like to take this opportunity of thanking all our guests tonight. Dr. William Schneed, we talked to him about being a criminologist. Oriella McCarthy, relationship expert who revealed how to stop making the same mistakes. Dick Diebold was with us, and Alexandra Holzer is my guest this hour, talking about investigating the paranormal. On tomorrow night's show, we have Jules Naudet talking about the daily life of the 12 of the holiest people in the world. Serona Knight is with us doing dream interpretations. Marie D. Jones talking about the 2012 phenomenon. And then Bob Honeycutt from the Georgia Ghost Society. That's all tomorrow night here on the X Zone. First of all, Alexander, I want to thank you very much for joining us tonight. Always a great pleasure having you on the show, and I wish you continued success in the field that you've decided to call your own.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm trying, and I really don't want to, I really want to break away from what's going on right now and try to kind of go back, and I'm really happy that a lot of people are coming out and feeling comfortable about helping other people when they have, a situation, because that's really what it's about at the end of the day. And if we can get it on TV and do it great, and help people, that's fine. I think it's awesome. I'm trying to do the same thing. Mm-hmm. So it's no different. And actually, I do have something based off of my father that I might be doing him justice of something he wanted to do 50 years ago might be coming to fruition. And hopefully I will be able to help make that come true for him while he's still of the living. So it's a lot of good stuff.
How have you seen the research being done in the paranormal change or advance since you started watching your dad many years ago?
Right. Well, that's the thing, because I have him and I know all the work and I've been, paying attention. I think we just have advanced technology and we have more of an awareness and a desire to want to know. And I think we've always had it. Mm-hmm. I just think because we're just more advanced with technology, we can showcase it more. So once you do that, then you've got more people coming out saying, oh, yeah, okay, if you say it's okay, then I can tell you about my situation.
Sure.
That's really all it is, but it's always been here since, it's no different. So I just want to help people, and I want to, go along with others that are my peers, that are ahead of me, people who are learning before me, mm-hmm. and just, do good. Just do good stuff.
In your opinion, where is the most haunted place in America?
My house. There's 4 noisy ghosts.
Really? Your house is haunted?
It will be if one of them don't behave. We're going to be down one child. We're going to have a ghost.
Oh, my gosh.
No, it's, oh, God, there's just too many. There's too many. I mean, I think Europe. There's a lot of
mm-hmm.
places in Europe, a lot of monasteries. But in New York City, which is where I grew up, and I still live just outside of New York City, there's a lot of mansions, mm-hmm. Hotel rooms, pubs that used to be stables for very well-known actors. Downtown in the lower end of Manhattan, lower level, very haunted still.
Alexandra, I want to thank you very much for joining us tonight. Take care of yourself. Always great talking to you, and please give my best to your dad.
I will. Thank you so much.
Take care, honey. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Alexandra Holzer, www.hauntingholzer.com. Well, that's it for tonight, everyone. I'd like to thank my producer at Master Control, the one and only Batman, for keeping us up on those 3 big satellites in the sky galaxy for our Telstar 7 and Aglia 2, and around the world on TalkStarRadio.com, streaming audio. Keith Friedman at Consolidated Streaming. Thank you, buddy, for keeping our video feed going. And I'll be back with you tomorrow night at 10 o'clock as once again we cross the time-space continuum to this place that I call the X-Zone. So until tomorrow night, X-Zone Nation, do me a favor, take care of each other, and also take care of this planet. It's the only one we've got. And last but not least, always keep your eyes to the sky and your heart to the light. Good night.